Hello guys and welcome, it is ThatSrb2DUDE here today, bringing you yet another Splatoon 2 video. Now this is gonna be more of like a commentary video, just me speaking and giving out some advice. It's more of like a Splatoon 2 talks video and me expressing my thoughts. I guess a little bit about the mentality of when you are playing Splatoon 2 in a competitive setting. Now, the topic of this video is to drop loyalty and pride. What I mean by this is having a Splatoon 2 main, as some like to say. Now, I've made a video about this in the first Splatoon when I gave my thoughts on why you shouldn't force yourself to main one weapon and one weapon only on every single map in the game. For many reasons, of course. I would say the biggest one is that you can't use this specific weapon on every single map in the game, unlike other ones. Now in this video, I kind of want to get more into the mentality aspect of this specific topic. And I feel the way you want to think when using a weapon in Splatoon 2, when you want to win the game, is what is going to actually make you win? What's going to be a weapon that's going to be so effective on each map mode that's going to give you the best performance possible? Now, I'd say effectiveness is the key word here. So, effectiveness in Splatoon 2, what does this mean? Well, it's kind of obvious. Objective. You want to find out what's going to assist the objective and support the objective and allow you to actually do the objective all at the same time, if possible. Now, for each map and mode, you want to have a check mark for all of these things. These are effective things that help the objective. The next thing you want to find out is how effective would this weapon be against your opponents. Now, more or less, what you want to do against your opponents is always push them back. You want to have a more dominant force over your opponents to be able to overwhelm them. If it's a thing where you're in a 1v1 and you're the one being pressured, you're the one being pushed back, then there is something wrong. If you aren't able to at least hold them back or at least stall them, then it's either one of two things. One, it's the weapon that you're using and it's not effective enough to actually go against their wrath. Or two, you aren't able to overwhelm them with this weapon. If your enemies aren't pressured or aren't feeling any pressure and they're just pushing you back constantly, then that means you're getting pushed back into your spawn. You're not able to do the objective. You aren't able to kill your opponents because they're pushing you back and you're having to run away. And overall, you are just not being effective. Now, the title of this video is called Drop Loyalty and Pride. And it is basically the thing that holds a lot of people back from actually performing better as an overall player. People who main certain weapons or categories will use that specific weapon on every single map and mode, even if it's putting them in a disadvantage. That's not a great way to think, in my opinion. Now, I would say the best example for this is, I guess, the Elite of 4K. Now, this weapon specifically is a very, very slow killing and very, very defensive weapons. Lots of varies because it is just fact. Look at the kit. It has rain cloud and it has ink mines. Ink mines are there just so you can put it around you, just so you know people are coming towards you. This weapon is a literal statue. It does not move. You're not supposed to be aggressive with this weapon. So I've stated all of this. So when you look at game types like Rainmaker, like Tower Control, is your weapon actually going to be effective on these types of game types? On Splat Zones, sure. You get a zone, you control it. You're supposed to defend the zone at all costs. That's why weapons like the Elite work on these game types. But on fast-paced game types like Tower Control and Rainmaker, when you want to constantly be moving the objective, how in the world is your second and a half killing weapon going to be taking out the enemies as you are progressing? Will you actually be able to use this weapon as effectively or more than effectively when being aggressive with an Elite, a purely defensive weapon? Is it just because you main this weapon is why you're using it? Is it because you just want to be known as this person who uses this weapon? Ask yourself, do you actually want to win the game? Do you want to be as effective as you possibly can to actually achieve victory? Now, I want to stress that I'm not saying that you can't make this work. So of course you can. If you experiment, if you study, if you work with your teammates, and you figure out your setups for all these different types of situations, then fair play to you. But if there are weapons that have a clear, significant difference of being more effective within the game, then what would be the point of putting yourself at a disadvantage to not being able to win the game? What would be the point of using a weapon that's not going to paint as well, that isn't going to help in the aggressive push? What would be the point of using a weapon that's not going to help the objective as much, that's not going to provide the painting power, that's not going to help at actually pressuring the enemy team? Now, I know for sure people are going to be in the comment section saying, but I went 25-2 in this game, and it was Rainmaker, and I was using this weapon, and I was able to, just be most effective as I possibly can. Well, I'm just saying this. Yeah, you played solo queue maybe. Yeah, you're in a tournament and you're playing the very first team in the round that clearly wasn't as good as you guys were. But when it comes to the point where you have players that are at your skill level or even better at your skill level, there's a thing that's called meta that starts to overshadow all of these things. Because better players and the top teams are using the most effective strategies. This is exactly why they're winning the tournament. It's not the thing where they're using weapons because they have loyalty or pride in using this specific weapon because it makes them feel like this X person. No, it's not that at all. It's because the compositions they're picking is actually effective. It actually deals with a majority of situations. It deals with paint coverage. It deals with actually being aggressive. It deals with defense. There are so many boxes that are being ticked, and the last thing you want is to have less boxes ticked than them. Because then you're putting yourself at a disadvantage only because you wanted to be this person who uses this weapon and not be this person who actually wants to win and being able to win the most effectively. Another thing I kind of want to bring up is the previous meta where the Tri-Slosher was the greatest close range weapon in the game. Nobody used the 52 gal when the Tri-Slosher had its stats that it did before in version 1.2, I believe. You have the Tri-Slosher, you have the 52. Both 2-shot weapons, except the 52 gal at its longest range was a 3-shot kill, very inaccurate. The Tri-Slosher, it had more range than the 52 gal, 100% accuracy. It also had the mechanics advantage when sloshing over things to actually hit your opponents. The 52 could do that, but it'd probably take 5 shots for it to kill because of fall-off damage. Tri-Slosher had nothing to do with fall-off damage, so it had the advantage over that. This is why in the previous meta, people used this weapon because it was one of the most effective weapons over the 52 gal. In Japanese meta, you had people using 3 Tri-Sloshers and 1 Rapid Blaster. Why did they use 3 Tri-Sloshers? Because it was basically a close/long range weapon with all its stats. It had ink armor that would last forever. They can just chain it over and over again. Paint coverage was great. It ticked the most boxes out of every other weapon in the game, which is why it was such a problem, which is why so many people complained about it. And they complained about it because it was one of the most effective weapons in the game, which is why in this meta, people used it. Loyalty and pride didn't mean anything to them because it was the most effective way to actually win the game. These people play competitively, so they want to find out the best way that's going to make them win. So if it takes 3 Tri-Sloshers to allow them to make them win, due to it being the most effective way of playing in the game, then they're going to do it. People will say that they're scumbags for even doing such a thing, and they probably have no skill whatsoever. Sure, that's your opinion, you can say that, but well, one thing they do have is the knowledge to win. The one thing they do have is that they're standing above you and they are at the top. They're looking down upon you and they see you complaining while they're laughing away, winning the tournaments. Now, this is just the competitive side of things. Now, there are millions of different compositions that can make you win, of course. You gotta experiment, everyone's gotta study. It's probably a fair fact to say that the top teams right now, their compositions are the most effective in the game. It's without a doubt, it's the truth. One thing that I want you guys to also notice is that a lot of top players are able to use a lot of weapons at a very high level, and it's mainly because they didn't spend so much time using one weapon because they wanted to be this person with this weapon. No, it's because the top players actually experiment what is the most effective weapons to do such objective and to be the most effective they can be against the opponents. Now, as I said again, it is just the competitive side. You want to be picking weapons that are going to help you win and be the most effective. If you're a casual player and you're just playing the game just to have fun, then fair enough. No problem with that. You bought the game, you play it how you want, of course. You can even tell me that. But when I got this game in competitive settings, I want to win. Because you know what? That is fun for me. being competitive, that is fun for me. That's how you be competitive in this game. You find things that work and use it against other people. If you see something that another team has used on you, you take that, you bring it into your own play, and you add on to it to see if you can make it more effective than they did. Like in Splatoon 1, let's pick out the H3 nozzle nose. Yes, I used the Cherry H3 religiously because the kit worked so well. It was very, very effective. Long range, painted amazingly well. The kit was great frontline weapon. The weapon ticked so many boxes. I used this weapon almost on every map because it ticked every single box and it could fit in every single composition that was being played. Now we have a H3 in Splatoon 2. Why am I not using it? Because it's not as effective. Yes, it has long range. Yes, its killing power can be very great. But the thing is, in this meta, it's not able to pressure people as well as it used to in Splatoon 1. I can't find many reasons to actually use this weapon over another one where I can be personally more effective with. Which is why I don't even use the weapon at all. Now, I'm probably going to get some flack for this video. Honestly, I don't really care. Due to some people who main certain weapons, they're going to feel offended or something like that. Or they're going to say, is my weapon specifically meta? Is my weapon effective? Can I use this weapon effectively? There's going to be a lot of questions, and I know that for sure. But I guess the point of this video, like, first of all, I don't even want to answer any of those questions. If you do ask me that, I'm not going to answer you straight up. The thing I want to get across to your heads is that you want to find out in competitive, just competitive. If you're having fun, that's fine. In just competitive, you want to find out what's the most effective way to be able to perform the best on each map and mode. If you know that you're going to have a disadvantage because you use X weapons, only just because you main the weapon, don't think that way. This is competitive. You want to win and you want to do it the best way possible. So honestly, that is all I want to say. I hope you guys look into it and find out what can be the most effective for you. Straight up, some things aren't going to work every single time. Straight up, it's just how it works. It's how competitive it is. Some things are going to work more than some other things, and some things are going to be really clear that it just does not work as well as it used to. So that's pretty much all I gotta say. I hope you guys enjoyed. I went on for quite a bit, so apologize for that. Very, very passionate about this topic, and just, you know, drop the loyalty and pride. It's if you're being competitive, that is. Like, if you're playing for fun, have your fun. You bought the game and you play it how you want. So, anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did like this video, please like, favorite, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch, both in the description below. Do it for both if you're feeling generous. And as always, guys, this has been ThatSrb2Dude. Shall see you guys in a future video.